It was the man's first time playing a game, as one test subject after another died. Baek Yu-hyan, who endured to the very end, became a superhuman. But those inhumane experiments left him with psychological scars that never faded. Electrocution, drug injections, bodily modification. The number of victims reached a horrifying several thousand. Baek Yu-hyan, subject 62, was close to breaking down. Hardly anyone around him was still alive. He was terrified of being left all alone. The crackling current had pushed Sua to the brink of death. Crying, she said goodbye to Baek Yu-hyan. She simply couldn't hold on any longer. Baek Yu-hyan could do nothing for her. Then another male companion collapsed as well. His final wish was for Baek Yu-hyan to survive. At first, he had thought this was all just inside a game, just an extremely realistic game, that they'd be out soon enough. But as time passed, he realized in despair that this place had become his new reality. Reverse Planet was a virtual reality game, and it had firmly held the #1 spot in the global game rankings. Its themes, dimensional gates, superpowers, invasion wars, made it wildly popular. He had logged into the game because a terrible friend strongly recommended it. He never imagined it would be a road of no return. He swore he would survive and then take revenge. So he planned an escape with the other survivors. But after all the hardship they went through to reach the exit, what awaited them was not freedom, but an even stronger watchdog blocking the way. The man wore a twisted smile, his bloodlust playing on his face, and declared that this place would become their grave. No one had expected an outcome like this, but they had no intention of waiting meekly for death. They quickly formed a battle plan. Those with weapons took the front, while Baek Yu-hyan supported from the rear. The man thought they were a bunch of overconfident fools. All the better to wipe them out at once. The battle was brutally one-sided. Everyone died. In the end, Baek Yu-hyan strangled the man to death with his bare hands. He wept bitterly. But the next moment, something bizarre happened. From the bodies of his dead companions, dark shadows crawled out. Each one was filled with rage and resentment. And just like that, he escaped the research institute. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. And so he kept killing over and over. To avenge the people he loved, he took one life after another. The security guard were terrified out of their minds. Their gun barrels were smoking. One of them tried to run, but there was no way Baek Yu-hyan would let him go. But Baek Yu-hyan had grown weary of this endless revenge. Everyone kept urging him on, and he was nearing his breaking point. How much longer was he supposed to live like this? Until the day he died? Then, at that very moment, a pop-up appeared. He had waited more than 10 years for this. Special mission. Big Feeks. Eliminate the chief director of the Transcendence Project. Reward. A chance to return to the original world. Eliminate the chief director of the Transcendence Project. Reward. A chance to return to the original world. Baek Yu-hyan stared at the mission in disbelief. At last, the hat appeared. A chance to escape this place. The scene shifted. A blond man was kneeling on the ground. Why are you doing this? You were only one step away from basking in glory. Why? This man was the chief director of the Transcendence Project. His bodyguard were already sprawled dead across the floor. The white-haired man nearest to him grabbed him by the collar. You're asking why I'm doing this? Don't tell me you really don't know. But the blond man slapped his hand away. Shut up, subject 81. I wasn't talking to trash like you. Mr. Baek Yu-hyan, you entered the realm of transcendence with a mortal body. You are a true superhuman. You are the most perfect creation of the Transcendence Project. Whatever you want, I will give it to you. You're nothing like those fools. A white mist gathered in Baek Yu-hyan's hand. He said he didn't need anything. Seeing that, the blond man panicked. Wait, not just that. Fool, do you think if you kill me, everything will end? The organization will never forgive anyone who dares stand against it. Not just you, your family, your relatives, your co-workers. We will destroy them all. But Baek Yu-hyan had come here to kill him in the first place. There was no way he'd care about those threats. The white-haired man clicked his tongue in annoyance, saying the blood had splattered all over him, and that he still had questions for the blond man. But now Baek Yu-hyan had killed him. Little did he know, Baek Yu-hyan hadn't even been listening. His eyes were fixed solely on the pop-up. Special mission. Bug fix complete. Return to the original world. All special missions completed. The promised reward will now be granted. Return to the original world. Baek Yu-hyan's trembling finger moved toward yes. He could finally be free. But just then, countless voices rang out. Yu-hyan, where are you going? Have you forgotten us? What about the ones who are left? Please, kill them. Take revenge. A cruel revenge. Baek Yu-hyan felt he had already done enough. He was exhausted. At that moment, the white-haired man slapped a hand onto his shoulder. Hey, Baek Yu-hyun, what are you spacing out for? I'm going back to my original world now. The white-haired man looked dumbfounded. Original world? What nonsense are you talking about? Haven't you belonged here from the start? Please tell the others for me. Sam swore. In the end, he still selected yes. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself lying on his side in bed. It was his room. He couldn't believe he had really returned. He checked his phone and discovered it was the very same day he'd been dragged into the game, which meant that while he had spent all that time over there, no time had passed here at all. Looking at himself in the mirror, the scars and muscle were gone. It was as if everything had just been a dream. But the images in his mind felt far too real. Sua's despair, the director's threats, none of that could have been a dream. And yet, if it was a dream, then why were every sensation and memory so vivid? Those 10 years he had spent there were undeniably real. Just then his phone rang. The caller was Young Nayeon, but the name sounded strangely familiar to him. Then shouting came from the other end of the line. Hey, Baek Yu-hyun, why aren't you replying? Don't tell me you forgot our date. Did that? Yeah, we agreed to meet tonight, remember? I'll send you the address, so get over here. Bye. Only then did Baek Yu-hyun remember. She was the classmate in his department he was closest to, and also the main culprit who had convinced him to play Reverse Planet. If she hadn't nagged him so relentlessly, he never would have touched it. For a moment, he even wondered whether Young Nayeon knew everything and had done it on purpose. But he immediately dismissed the thought. For now, meeting her first was the best option. He had only just stepped inside when Young Nayeon waved excitedly at him. Here, Baek Yu-hyun, long time no see. This is our first time seeing each other since break, right? Want a drink? Baek Yu-hyun said the weather was bad, and he didn't feel like drinking. The real reason, though, was that in his current state, if he got drunk, there was no telling what he might do. He didn't dare. What's up with you? Then let's just eat. Looking at the pork belly sizzling on the grill, it felt extravagant for students like them. Then Young Nayeon asked, by the way, did you play Reverse Planet? Didn't you say you'd at least try the tutorial? Of all things, she had to bring that up. He had created his character, watched the opening cinematic, and then been dragged in immediately. But all she heard was opening cinematic, so she frowned. Seriously, Baek Yu-hyun? Then that means you practically didn't play it at all. Hearing that, he could have killed. Practically didn't play it at all? Do you have any idea whose fault it is I spent 10 years in hell? If it weren't for you, I was really looking forward to it, you know? You promised you'd be a regular guest on my stream. Weren't you a top-ranked arena player before? For a tiny streamer like me, if you showed even half of those skills, I'd totally blow up. Baek Yu-hyun was caught off guard. A streamer? She had mentioned wanting to do some kind of game stream. Kind of think of it. He finally understood why Young Nayeon had been so insistent on getting him a play. But he didn't remember ever agreeing to that. Why you said you'd come on at least once, didn't you? Only then did he start to feel that he had truly returned. After getting home, Baek Yu-hyun immediately searched online. The developer of Reverse Planet was located in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, in the United States. Then he let out another sigh. Even if he tracked down the headquarters, what could he do? If he claimed that the game had sent him to another world, they'd just think he was insane. And there was something even more frightening. If they really were connected to all this, then going after them would be like walking right into the wolf's den. If he provoked them rashly, who knew what kind of retaliation would follow? He didn't even know what he was trying to do anymore. If he had already escaped that hell, why keep investigating any of this? The best thing would be to forget everything that happened over there. After all, this was his original world. From that day on, Baek Yu-hyun started attending school normally again, doing his best to live an ordinary life. As a student, he should be enjoying campus life. But had he really come back? Is this kind of life your reality? He never imagined he had brought them back with him too. He turned around and saw his classmates quietly studying. But the next second, every one of them turned into shadowy figures. Something had begun to slip out of place. The voices of those shadows rang out in his head again. Avenge them. Revenge. Brutal revenge. This isn't where you belong. Go kill them. Baek Yu-hyun hurriedly ran out. His classmates had no idea what had gotten into him. Then a hand landed on his shoulder. Baek Yu-hyun, are you okay? He jolted in shock. Acting on pure reflex, he grabbed the hand, pulled it forward, and then threw a punch like he was fighting a monster. His classmates were stunned. What are you doing? The shout snapped him back to reality. He hastily grabbed his own hand. Sorry. His classmates had noticed something was wrong with him. He was scared. Right now, all he wanted was to be alone. But the voices came again. Yu-hyun, enough. Come back. Yu-hyun, have you forgotten us? You have to avenge us. Just then, Young Nayeon suddenly appeared beside him. Yu Hyan, look at your face. You seemed out of it for days. Did something happen? Baek Yu Hyan didn't want her to worry, so he stubbornly said nothing was wrong. Young Nayeon knew he didn't want to talk, so she didn't push it. If you say so, but if something's going on, tell me, okay? Big Sis will help you. Hearing that, he felt a little relieved. For now, he just needed to go back in. I brought those spirits here. If all this won't end until they're satisfied, then I have no choice but to try and fulfill that. He stared at the game pod in front of him, then lay down inside. He understood that if this kept going, this world and that one would become no different. Go back. This time, I have to end it for real. Then a mechanical voice sounded. Welcome to Reverse Planet. Baek Yu Hyan recognized the place at once. It was the waiting room of the Research Institute. Had he entered the game directly? The him from the other world couldn't possibly return to the Institute. He couldn't understand it. Why couldn't he go back to that world? He had only just finally made up his mind to return to that hell. Or was some other condition required? Just then, a pop-up appeared. Confirm current character appearance? He figured he should at least go through the tutorial first. Maybe once the tutorial ended, he'd be able to return. He immediately set combat assistance to 0. After all, in the other world, even without combat assistance, he had crushed everything in his path. Next came the selection of the first core element for his ability. Here, abilities could be reset at any time. In Reverse Planet, after choosing a core element, you strengthen your character through various sub-elements and build around that. A full ability combination, linking everything from the core element to the sub-elements, is called a build. Because the elements are so vast, even pro leagues had people who devoted themselves solely to researching builds. They were called professional builders. And the one that had earned him the title of superhuman was this. Core element selection complete. Then an announcement rang out. Test subject 48. So the game didn't show the process before awakening. Fair enough, he supposed. No one would specifically want to experience that kind of thing in a game, unless they were a masochist. Then he prepared to go in and see for himself. The instant he entered, he froze. He would recognize that thing even if it were reduced to ashes. A detonal, a killing machine created to prevent awakened Transcendence Project subjects from going berserk. It was also the source of countless test subject deaths. Please use the ability you have acquired to fight a detonal. Tutorial Mission 01. Fight a detonal. Fight a detonal. Eliminate a detonal. Please use your manifested ability to fight a detonal. But judging from its construction, this was an early model. Bad memories resurfaced once again. Hyung, please save me. It had killed too many test subjects to count. In an instant, it teleported toward Baek Yu Hyan. Baek Yu Hyan rolled his wrists. Whether it was here or there, it was always the same. Researchers never changed. All they ever did was come up with things that made people sick. He tilted his head and dodged a detonal's punch. But a detonal's attacks came one after another. Its orders were simple. Eliminate anyone who entered this room. Yet no matter how it attacked, Baek Yu Hyan evaded with ease. Then he caught an opening. His palm slammed into its chest. The final version had been troublesome because it could use abilities too. But this one, it was just an early model piece of junk. That single strike blew it to pieces. The experiment ended there. The level Baek Yu Hyan had displayed this time was on a completely different level from that of ordinary test subjects. Mission complete. Eliminate a detonal. Baek Yu Hyan was eager to begin the next experiment. Just then, an alarm blared. Attention all innocent victims trapped inside the Research Institute. Please do everything in your power to escape outside immediately. So the government had intervened. The woman couldn't understand how those government people had gotten here. The voice sounded strangely familiar to Baek Yu Hyan. Tutorial Mission 02. Find a way to leave the Research Institute and escape to the outside area. Escape the Research Institute. Escape to the outside area. Please find a way to leave the Research Institute. The next second, an explosion sounded overhead. Baek Yu Hyan knew he had to get out first. He sprinted desperately. When the explosion stopped, the corridor was a total wreck. A detonal's severed parts were scattered everywhere. He looked at the man slumped against the wall and saw the insignia of the Interdimensional Management Bureau. So he wasn't an enemy. You're one of the victims, aren't you? If you made it here, that means you want to escape, right? I might be able to help you. Then he opened what looked like an armory. Take anything here. Pick whatever you want and bring it with you. And this too. Once you're outside, use it to send a radio signal. Then people from the Bureau will come for you. After saying that, he died. Baek Yu Hyan crouched there and started choosing. He suspected this was just a cutscene required by the game's story. What he didn't notice was that another adenal had already appeared behind him. In the end, he chose a scythe attached to a chain. But his mood was terrible. He didn't understand what was going on. Around that same time, a game streamer named Kong Soyeol also logged into the game. In her usual tsundere fashion, she declared, "I can't believe I'm actually playing Reverse Planet, the national game. The pride of a niche game lover like me is crying." The chat was just as entertaining. So she does know she's a niche game lover. You're the one who picked a mainstream game this time. How is this the reaction of someone finally trying a legendary national title? Seriously, who held a knife to your throat and made you play Replanet as punishment? Kong Soyeol got annoyed. Hey, I didn't come up with this punishment. You guys did, okay? Still, a promise was a promise. She doted on her viewers, after all. She was a woman who never broke her word to her audience. But the viewers came at her head on. How many times have you lied about playing a truly popular game next time? Still, don't be too hard on her. Or who else is going to introduce us to all these obscure games? Last time she also said it was mainstream, then brought another hidden indie gem. Kong Soyeol showed admirable personal restraint and didn't get angry. Instead, she kept things moving at her own pace. Anyway, I'm now going to carry out the punishment for failing the clear challenge and take a little taste of Replanet. Her viewers weren't stupid. They knew she was changing the subject. New players had to go through the setup process. She kept her own appearance, chose a cool fire ability, and then came the combat assistance percentage. The system kindly explained, the higher the percentage, the greater the assistance provided. Combat assistance is a comprehensive support system that helps in battle through posture correction, motion assistance, ability use correction, and more. The percentage can be adjusted freely. Ha ha ha, don't tell me you're scared? Mom, when I grow up, I want to play with no assist. Her fans were already giving her terrible ideas again. This has to be 0 assist. No assist tutorial clear. Let's go. Ha ha, don't tell me you're chickening out? Mom, when I grow up, I want to play with no assist. Go, 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 go. But Kong Soyeol wasn't stupid either. She started thinking seriously. Clearing the tutorial with no assist. Was that even possible? She had done her homework beforehand. Among players worldwide, the percentage of people who played with no assistance was practically 0. Sure, she had built up decent mechanics from playing obscure games, but from what she'd heard, playing without assist felt like suddenly having to control a third arm. She didn't think it would work. Every last one of these viewers just wanted to see her embarrass herself. She immediately started acting cute. Come on, everyone. No assist is a bit much, don't you think? But in the very next second, a mission popped up. Clear the tutorial with no assist. Reward, 500,000 won. Her whole expression changed instantly. Her eyes practically turned into money signs, and she said without a shred of sincerity, a real streamer has to take on a challenge at least once. Her viewers weren't stupid either. What an Uder-level attitude change. The moment the reward popped up, she switched sides. Capitalism's undead servant, Kong Soyeol, was suddenly fired up like she'd been injected with adrenaline. Until I clear the tutorial, I will be playing in no assist mode. But she regretted it almost immediately. Guys, was this really the right call? She got instantly killed by a deadnal right at the start. She was so frustrated she nearly cried. They didn't explain anything. They just throw you in and tell you to fight. It even sneak attacked me. Some fans comforted her. Lasting 2 minutes is already pretty good. Even plenty of pro players lose to it. Trying to beat a deadnal in no assist mode with just one core element? Of course that's hard. Someone else said, this mission wasn't designed for you to win in the first place. But Kong Soyeol didn't lose heart. She had already looted a radio and a weapon. All she had to do now was escape, right? At that moment, she also received beginner tutorial mission 02. Escape the Research Institute. Automatically matching party. Matching in progress. Recommended party size for players. That gave her hope. A party was great. If she cleared it together with a match team, that should count as completing the mission too, right? The viewers immediately started chattering. Isn't that way too much a free ride? Ha ha. Of course, leeching off stronger teammates works. If you knew how this tutorial matchmaking worked, you wouldn't be saying that. Anyway, she won't match with anyone. Tough luck. The last 2 viewers jinxed it like prophets. The system popped up. Match failed. Kong Soyeol was dumbfounded. How could there be no match? Reverse Planet was a national hit. There should be tons of players. Starting party matchmaking. Expanding search. Party matching. Expanded search. Ongoing missions will also be included in the matchmaking pool. Matching players with the same combat assist percentage. But why isn't it working? Matching only players with the same combat assist percentage. What lunatic would do the tutorial in no assist mode? Wait, hold on. Doesn't that mean any teammates I get will also be in no assist mode? Haha. So it's a no assist squad. This isn't getting carried. This is you having to carry. If a useless no assist team can clear it, I'll admit it. Kong Soyeol was even tempted to cancel a mission. Party match successful. Then, in the very next second, a miracle happened. Party match successful. She let out a scream and frantically hit the cancel button, but it was already too late. You are about to join an ongoing beginner tutorial mission. Escape the research institute. I am screwed. The moment she arrived at the mission location, the sight before her stunned her. Identities were lying sprawled all over the ground. She thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. This didn't look like a joke at all. The viewers were also stunned. What the hell is going on? Wait, is this real? Did No Assist Team really do this in the beginner tutorial? Seriously, this is insane. Is this some pro player on a Smurf account? Even among pro players, nobody can do this in the beginner tutorial on no assist mode. Most shocking of all, these weren't taken down with guns. In no assist mode, with no gun, someone had killed this many Identities. Kong Soyeol was overjoyed. This really was shaping up to be a free ride. Then I need to hurry up and find this boss level player. At that moment, Baek Yu-hyan finished off a few more Identities. Then suddenly, his eyes turned toward a certain direction. Kong Soyeol had come sneaking over. The person here. Before she could finish speaking, a bloodstained blade appeared right in front of her. Kong Soyeol froze in terror. That knife had been just 0.01 centimeters from her. The next second, she screamed and ducked away. Help. Once Baek Yu-hyan realized she wasn't an enemy, he lowered the knife. Sorry, my mistake. Then he turned to leave. Wait, I think we got matched onto the same team. If it's okay, can we go together? Before he could even answer, Kong Soyeol hurried after him. My name's Kong Soyeol. I'm a personal live streamer online. I'm streaming right now. Would you mind appearing on stream? I already turned on personal info protection mode, so your face will definitely be hidden. Baek Yu-hyan suddenly stopped. Kong Soyeol flinched, thinking he was angry. But it turned out someone had appeared. It's an escape test subject. Kill him. No need to take him alive. Gunfire erupted at once. Kong Soyeol dropped into a crouch with her hands over her head. Why is the beginner tutorial this hard? But then she saw something she would never forget for the rest of her life. Baek Yu-hyan was moving fast enough to dodge bullets. The movements of his body were even more outrageous. The chain sickle showed terrifying power in his hands. Someone using a machine gun was actually losing to someone wielding a cold weapon. It made absolutely no sense. The chat exploded too. What the hell is that thing? A chain sickle? Seriously? Kong Soyeol wasn't even embarrassed anymore. Hiding off to the side, she started asking sincerely, I don't know much about Reverse Planet, but this playstyle isn't normal, right? How are you even supposed to use a weapon like that without assist? Yeah, it's completely abnormal. What am I even watching right now? Does anyone know what ability that guy is using? Even his eye color suddenly turned white. Looking at how that chain sickle moves. I don't know what it is, but if I ran into someone like that in PvP, I'm confident I'd get destroyed. If it were wind, it'd be more obvious. I don't know what it is, but even if I had telekinesis, I'd still get wrecked by someone like that in PvP. But there's only one core trait that changes your eye color to white and boosts physical ability. Perfect existence. Perfect existence? Kong Soyeol looked surprised. Isn't that the one that makes you unable to use abilities? That's why people call it trash and tell you not to pick it, right? Exactly. That's why we're so confused. Perfect existence was one of Reverse Planet's many core traits. It greatly boosted physical abilities and resistance to powers, but made it impossible to use any ability skills. Because of that downside, players treated it as an epic tier garbage skill. On the Reverse Planet forum, Perfect Existence ranked #1 on the must blacklist core trait list. Seriously, I have no idea why they even put such a trash core trait in the game. The fact that people instantly leave the party says it all. If anyone on your team picks that thing, just leave immediately. GG. Kong Soyeol felt like they had a point. This really was a bit absurd. I tried it once out of curiosity and ended up screaming while deleting my account. In a game built around superpowers, choosing a build that can't use abilities at all, perfect existence. How is that not insane? Some players even said they'd been playing Reverse Planet for ages and had never once seen anybody actually choose perfect existence. But seeing his eyes turn white, that has to be it. And perfect existence has another trait too. In no assist mode, maybe boosting only physical ability actually becomes an advantage. True, it's hard to use powers in no assist mode anyway. So if you just give up on abilities entirely and invest all your points into physical stats, I guess that could count as a strategy. But she still couldn't understand it. Baek Yu-hyan should only be level 1 right now. How could he possibly move like that? Who the hell was this guy? She had never seen such a ferocious man before. He was tearing through them with nothing but a chained sickle. It was like the grim Reaper himself had returned. But to the spirits of the dead, it still wasn't enough. Yu-hyan, it's not enough. Take crueler revenge. This alone won't satisfy us. Just then, a survivor who had slipped through the cracks quietly appeared and aimed a gun at him. The man casually threw a single punch, and even the first stage boss was horrified. Because this wasn't a level of strength a low-grade test subject like Baek Yu-hyan was supposed to possess. Even particle barriers that guns couldn't leave a mark on, Baek Yu-hyan could shatter them with ease. What they didn't realize was that the Research Institute itself had given him that power. Seeing Baek Yu-hyan in danger, Kang So-yeol suddenly darted in front of him and pulled the trigger. 3 shots rang out, interrupting the ambusher. The attacker trembled with rage. One careless mistake. Kang So-yeol, still on the ground, fired one more shot. The attacker instantly dropped dead. Kang So-yeol even struck a pose and gave the gun barrel a classic little blow. This time, the viewers were won over and praised her without holding back. Isn't she just kill-stealing? Honestly, that was insanely cool. I mean it, her aim is seriously good. Well, obviously, if you want to play a niche game like this, your shooting has to be good. If I didn't know better, I'd think she killed all of them. Isn't she just kill-stealing? Kill-stealer's out. Kang So-yeol turned to Baek Yu-hyan. So, I helped out a little, right? Good grief. So she was just showing off. Then a brief memory surfaced in Baek Yu-hyan's mind. I am honestly confused. Brother Yu-hyan. A girl was running toward him. Do you guys know who that is? Could be Suwa. Just then, Kang So-yeol cut in. Mr. Driver. That title made Baek Yu-hyan pause. What kind of weird way to address someone was that? You weren't mad, were you? I know you were the one who did all the real work, Mr. Driver. I only stole a tiny bit of it. No, you did help. The chat became lively again. Even though we can't see his face because of privacy mode, I somehow feel like he's handsome. Don't you think his voice sounds super attractive too? I know it's voice modulated, but this Mr. Driver is way too nice. He really feels like, wow, what a god-tier player. Kang So-yeol, seeing how easygoing Baek Yu-hyan was, brightened up. Really? Then, can we do the beginner tutorial mission together? I'll do my absolute best to help. Baek Yu-hyan agreed without much hesitation. Then, Mr. Driver. Baek Yu-hyan finally couldn't take it anymore. Just call me Baek Yu-hyan. Okay, Mr. Yu-hyan. She guessed that might be his real name, since that probably couldn't be filtered out. But she still couldn't help asking what had been bothering her. If this isn't rude to ask, was your starting ability core trait perfect existence? Baek Yu-hyan admitted it directly. There was nothing to hide. People above saying it needs to be reevaluated. No, it's still a trash build. That won't change. The person above is right. Could an ordinary person use it like Mr. Driver does? Perfect existence should be reassessed? No, this build is still garbage. Kang So-yeol also looked completely unconvinced and more than a little envious. Wow, if you don't have powers, how do you dodge bullets like that? Do you usually play some other kind of game? No, there's no particular game I especially like. Then he suddenly stopped again. What is it? About 20 meters ahead, there are 2 adentinals. What, 20 meters? Kang So-yeol couldn't make sense of it. He didn't have any long-range sensing ability. So how could he know the location and number of enemies 20 meters away? That was way too unreasonable. Baek Yu-hyan told her not to worry about it and just follow him. Wait, no way. Is it actually true? When she saw that there really were 2 adentinals there, Kang So-yeol was shocked. Baek Yu-hyan looked thoughtful. Come to think of it, there is one game I played pretty seriously. Colosseum. Kang So-yeol was speechless. No, seriously? Forget that. It's dangerous up ahead, stop. The moment she said that, Baek Yu-hyan appeared in front of an adentinal in an instant and sent it flying with one massive kick. With just one hit, he reduced an adentinal to scattered parts. Back when he had played at his craziest, he'd even made it onto the rankings. Then he clenched his fist. He slammed it straight into the second adenal. The impact was so strong it seemed to make the air itself tremble. The viewers went wild again. Now I get everything he did earlier. He just took out adenals like they were nothing. Aya, is this what a top-tier Coliseum player is like? If he's really a Coliseum high ranker, then all of his earlier moves suddenly make sense. Kong Soyeol still didn't quite get it. A top Coliseum player? Are they really that amazing? You don't even know about Coliseum high rankers? That's niche game players for you. TSK. Honestly, I didn't know either. Then people who knew immediately jumped in to explain through the subtitles. I don't know how it is now, but back then, if you became a top Coliseum player, pro teams would come recruit you immediately. That's how people became pro gamers. Player Battler actually became a pro that way. B Battler? Kong Soyeol knew that name. Reverse Planet. I really wonder what it'd be like if Mr. Driver faced Battler in Reverse Planet PvP. If he came from the Coliseum scene, maybe he's fought Battler before? After dealing with the two adenals, Baek Yu-hyan didn't stop and kept pushing forward. Soon, they reached the exit of the research institute. A loud voice rang in their ears. So you really managed to crawl all the way here. Too bad this place is about to become your grave. It was none other than one of Baek Yu-hyan's old acquaintances, the Research Institute security captain, the beginner tutorial boss. And his arrogant attitude hadn't changed one bit. Don't worry, you'll be seeing the companions who went on ahead of you soon enough. The moment he saw him, Yu-hyan knew the tutorial was finally at its end. But in the next second, he saw something unbelievable. Countless spirits crawled up behind the security captain, yet the man had no idea. The spirits all wore expressions as if they wanted to devour him. By then, the security captain had already begun his attack. You're not leaving here alive. Kong Soyeol raised her gun and fired in a burst, but every shot was blocked by the security captain's barrier. Kong Soyeol felt it was unfair. Aren't particle barriers supposed to be only for awakened? The viewers enthusiastically explained it for her. The security captain is an awakened too. He's the boss of the beginner tutorial. After all, it'd be weird if he didn't have that much power. Thinking you can brute force this with guns is way too naive. Seeing it was hopeless, Kong Soyeol quickly hit again. Mr. Yu-hyan, I'll provide covering fire from the back. The viewers didn't miss the chance to tease her. The second she realized she couldn't win, she switched right back to calling him Mr. Driver. That speed at reading the room is incredible. White mode activated. Even if it's only in a game, if it can give you even the slightest bit of satisfaction. Baek Yu-hyan threw a punch. The particle barrier, which bullets couldn't even dent, caved inward. The security captain was sent flying backward, crashing into the ground in a cloud of dust. Kong Soyeol could only stare blankly. What kind of monster is that? Wait, what? He didn't even fire a shot just now. Why did the security captain's particle barrier collapse on its own? Is it bugged? The security captain had never suffered a humiliation like this before. You insect. Then he switched forms. Steel body appeared. What is that skin? Is that the security captain's power? Yeah, the security captain's ability is steel body. With several leaps, he lunged at Baek Yu-hyan. I'll rip you to pieces. The viewers, as always, were quick to notice things. If that punch lands, wouldn't you die on spot? Why did the ground sink like that? Steel body has to weigh at least a ton, right? If you got hit by one punch from that, wouldn't you meet your ancestors immediately? But Baek Yu-hyan dodged that deadly blow with ease. Unable to hit him, the security captain roared. How long do you think you can keep dodging? In the next second, one of his arms transformed into a high-speed drill. As it passed, chunks of wall and stone flew everywhere. Baek Yu-hyan couldn't keep dodging forever. He clenched his fist. One hit would be fatal, and the viewers were sweating for him too. One hit is all it would take. Even with assist on, I'd have trouble dodging the security captain's attacks. One hit would be fatal, but he still doesn't get touched. And she said she'd give him fire support? Hilarious. The next second, Baek Yu-hyan's fist swept across the security captain's metal-plated face and shattered his goggles. The captain dropped to one knee, coughing, and his steel state began to come undone. But Baek Yu-hyan wasn't having it. Don't deactivate your steel form, because you don't get to die so easily. But the spirits urged him to kill the man. Tear him to pieces, just like what we went through. No, even crueler than that. The security captain looked terrified. Why you? A test subject like you. How could you possibly have this kind of power? Baek Yu-hyan looked down at him. It's all thanks to you. By now, Kong Soyeol had been reduced to a mere spectator. Research Institute security captain defeated. What exactly did we just witness? Still, why does the way he beats people up look so practiced? Could it be? Wow, that was insanely cool. No matter what, he even killed the beginner tutorial boss at last. Now all that's left is to walk out, right? Now that you mention it, that's true. Successful free ride. Feels good, huh? Why did a guy like Mr. Driver have to show up at exactly this moment? That last viewer clearly just wanted to see Kong, so you'll fail. Then let's go. Mr. Yuhyan. As soon as Baek Yuhyan walked away, the spirits wrapped themselves around the security captain's corpse, as if dragging him down to hell. The moment they stepped outside the research institute, Kong So-yeol finally relaxed. Woo! We finally escaped. Tutorial mission escape the research institute complete. Level up. Obtained 1 ability point. Mr. Yuhyan, are you going to keep progressing the main story today? No, I think I'll stop here for today. He wasn't tempted in the slightest by Kong So-yeol's looks. As the stream was about to end, the viewers hurried to roast Kong So-yeol one last time. Still, that was pretty entertaining, huh? A viewer named Gray Game Company said, "This streamer really has no shame. Forbes should rank her #1 in freeloading." Another viewer with a hard-to-read username thought it had been fun too. I just got here. Why is the stream ending already? That user clearly had terrible timing. That means the no assist beginner tutorial clear mission was a success. Today's stream was really fun too. See you all tomorrow. When Kong So-yeol saw that Baek Yuhyan was still there, she immediately made a suggestion. Would you be willing to appear on my stream regularly? Appear on your stream? A bead of cold sweat formed on Baek Yuhyan's face. Maybe we could even do some reverse planet PvP sometimes. I can arrange the schedule entirely around the times you want, and I'll make sure the appearance fee is generous. Kong So-yeol looked at him expectantly after saying that, but Baek Yuhyan refused outright. Kong So-yeol looked a little disappointed. I understand. Judging by your expression, I guess persuasion won't work, but we can at least add each other as friends, right? Then she prepared to end the stream. I really had fun playing with you today. I hope you keep enjoying Reverse Planet from here on too. Surprisingly, she was pretty polite, and with that, the beginner tutorial was completely over. She was left standing there all alone. But the thing she had been expecting never happened. Why can't I still go back there? What he didn't know was just what kind of waves his gameplay today would create in the future. At that moment, on the Reverse Planet forum, a video quietly appeared. Let me explain why Baek Yuhyan is obviously a cheater. An analysis of why that no assist, no firearm video has to be hacks. Let me explain why Baek Yuhyan is a hacker. But then an even more explosive message appeared. How does it feel to be back in reality? Back in reality? How does it feel to be back in reality? The man had clearly beaten the game in no assist mode, yet he was attacked by countless netizens. Even the game developer launched an investigation into him, but the result left people utterly stunned. Not even hacks could replicate what he had done. What they didn't know was that Baek Yuhyan had been trapped inside the game for a full 10 years. After enduring inhuman experiments, he finally became superhuman. Clearing the first beginner stage was a piece of cake for him. Early the next morning, at the developer of Reverse Planet, the Korea branch of Planet Earth, the staff were facing an unprecedented situation because of their one and only user. On the video, Baek Yuhyan was shown beating the beginner boss to a pulp. No matter how many times they watched it, it was hard to believe. No assists, not even a weapon, and yet he crushed the security captain. The online community had already decided it had to be a hack. Users were flooding the company bulletin board, demanding an explanation. The regional manager had a headache over it. Are we sure it's really not hacks? Yellow Cat answered without hesitation. I'm sure. Just in case, we checked all the data from character creation onward. There's absolutely no record of any outside program tampering with it. Besides, I've seen all kinds of cheaters before. Guys who ran through walls. Guys who turned invisible. But this kind of movement, I've never seen it before. It's ridiculous. Even hacks couldn't imitate that. Yellow Cat sounded a little jealous. If it's not hacks, then he's basically a lunatic. Still, there's a very slim chance it could be a new type of cheat we haven't discovered yet. The regional manager agreed. But no matter what, they needed solid verification. At that moment, inside an ice cream shop, Baek Yuhyan and Jung Na-yeon were on a date. So, because of me, the whole online community is in chaos? Yu Haiyan looked a little incredulous. Yeah, it's complete mayhem right now. People even started a no-assist challenge, and the forums have basically labeled you a hacker. They're saying there's no way anyone could do that without hacks. No way without hacks, since everyone else failed. The 45th attempt to break through the security captain. So public opinion has completely decided you're cheating. Do you know how shocked I was when I first saw that video? You even said your real name. But Yu Haiyan couldn't understand it. The stream had personal info protection on, and I was wearing a mask. You shouldn't have been able to recognize me. You said your own name yourself. And besides, I've seen the way you fight before. Anyway, I knew you were strong, but I didn't expect this level. If strangers saw it, they'd definitely call it hacks. I see. So that's why they contacted me. Contacted you? Who? The Korea branch of Planet Earth. They said they want to verify whether I used hacks. Right then, a message from Kong Soyeol came in. Yu Haiyan had no choice but to explain. She relayed it through that streamer. Young Nayeon instantly turned into a gossiping spectator. The game company is personally stepping in to check whether you hacked. Wow, the hate level must be maxed out. So, are you going to accept? Yu Haiyan did want to accept. Sure, it was only the Korea branch, but it was his only chance to make contact with the developers. If he could meet someone high enough in rank, maybe he could get clues about that world. I told him I'd think about it, but I decided to give it a try. Young Nayeon looked even more excited than he was. Really? Good choice. If you're going to keep playing Reverse Planet, it's better to clear this up first. If everyone keeps calling you a hacker wherever you go, it's going to get annoying. I don't really care about that. It doesn't matter. Besides, would anyone even recognize me? I didn't show my face on stream. Yu Haiyan was still harboring a bit of hope, but Young Nayeon shattered it. No, even if you changed your name, your fighting style is way too distinctive. There's no way people wouldn't recognize you. Even in the pro scene, there's no one who fights without using abilities like you do. These days, even pro players trying to hide their identities get exposed because of habits they show in combat. Internet users are scary sharp. Even Rookie got exposed because of little habits he didn't even realize he had. Right? Still, it's a good thing you agreed. Otherwise, that streamer would have gotten roasted for sure. This time, Yu Haiyan genuinely didn't get it. He's him. Kong Soyeol is Kong Soyeol. They have nothing to do with each other. Dummy. To the people making a fuss over the hacking controversy right now, do you think that matters? At first, they'll just curse you out, but soon enough, they'll start turning on her too. Yu Haiyan thought the internet really was terrifying. He immediately replied to Kong Soyeol and said he accepted. Happiness hit Soyeol, so suddenly she could hardly believe what she was seeing on her phone screen. It worked. It worked. With how much attention this is getting, the viewers are going to explode too. Her previous streaming record had been 8,584 viewers. She couldn't help giggling. Everyone better get ready to be shocked. This is going to be something Reverse Planet has never seen before. She immediately posted an announcement. She will be doing a live broadcast to clear up the hacking controversy. Hello, everyone. You all know who the hottest person is these days, right? We'll be doing a stream to address Mr. Beck Yu Haiyan's hacking controversy. 4 days later, Yu Haiyan logged back into the game. Kong Soyeol rushed over at once. These past few days must have been really hard on you. It feels like this happened because of me. I'm really sorry. It's fine. I don't really care that much. More importantly, Soyeol, don't you suspect me too? Kong Soyeol looked surprised. Well, I saw your movements with my own eyes that day, and the evidence people are using to claim you hacked is pretty flimsy. Most importantly, because of those eyes of yours, like a crazed serial killer, I didn't even dare think in that direction. Only after saying it did she realize she'd let that slip. I mean, call it intuition. She then took out a camera. Anyway, if you're ready, we'll start the stream. Hello, everyone. Thanks for waiting. Kong Soyeol even threw up a peace sign as she spoke. The viewers had long since run out of patience. Finally started. Explain, 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 explain. Hacker out. Hacker out. Ordered fried chicken just to watch this. I thought I was going to die waiting. Is this a stream selling hacks? Hacker out. I ordered fried chicken just for this. Hacker out. Hacker out. I ordered fried chicken just for this. Ha 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 ha. It's obviously hacks. What is there to explain? Hacker out. Hacker out. I ordered fried chicken just for this. Ha ha ha. It's obviously hacks. Hacker out. Hacker out. I ordered fried chicken just for this. What is there to explain? Hacker out. Hacker out. I ordered fried chicken just for this. I'll just leave this running and watch for now. It's obviously hacks. Just as Kong Soyel had expected, the stream broke 10,000 viewers the moment it began. Even she had to marvel at how hot this was. That just shows how interested everyone is in this hacking controversy. So, I've invited Mr. Yuhain again. Hello, I'm Beck Igrekushian. The moment he appeared, the insults started up again. Kids who still believe he's not hacking don't get brainwashed. Shouldn't we stay neutral until we know the results? Crazy bastard hacker. Kids who still believe he's not hacking don't get brainwashed. Shouldn't we stay neutral until we know the results? What a thick skin. Kids who still believe he's not hacking don't get brainwashed. Shouldn't we stay neutral until we know the results? What's the point of using hacks in a game? Of course, some people defended him too. What's with the chat reaction? What are you all going to do if he's not hacking? Kids who still believe he's not hacking. Shouldn't we stay neutral until we know the results? So, is he hacking or not? Don't get brainwashed. Shouldn't we stay neutral until we know the results? So is he hacking or not? In short, it was a complete mess. Kong Soyol couldn't take it anymore. Everyone, please mind your manners in chat. If this gets any worse, I'm turning chat off. Before we begin the verification, Mr. Yuhayan, what do you think about this controversy? I think it's ridiculous. A controversy over something at this level. His answer made the viewers erupt all over again. At this level, is this some Gladiator Arena veteran humble bragging? He turned Reverse Planet upside down, and now the hacker is acting smug. LOL. He really said, at this level, this is some arena god tier flexing. Even Kong Soyol thought some of the viewers had a point. Well, it really was an insane display to call it just this much. So how exactly are you planning to clear this up? The viewers were highly interested. Good question. For today's verification, we invited a special guest. He should be here any second now. Unexpectedly, Kong Soyol kept them in suspense. The next second, a man appeared. This was the guest Kong Soyol had invited. More shocking still, the name over his head said GM. Hello, I'm Park Jin-hyun, team leader of the 1st Operations Division at Planet Earth Korea branch. He's got the GM title over his head that only shows up for operations staff authorized by headquarters. The viewers were genuinely stunned. So he's really not hacking? What about all the people who jumped on the bandwagon? What the hell? They actually brought in a real one. Wow, they brought an operations staff just to prove he's not hacking. He's got the GM title over his head that only shows up for op staff authorized by HQ. This is insane, So he's really not hacking? What now? He's got the GM title over his head that only shows up for op staff authorized by HQ. So what now? Looks like he really isn't hacking. Hope flickered in Beck Yu-hyan's eyes. If he was an operations team leader, then there was a good chance he knew something. Once the verification was over, Yu-hyan planned to ask him everything he could. The three exchanged greetings. Thank you for making the trip. I'm streamer Kong Soyol. I'm Beck Igrekushian. Pleasure to meet you. Park Jin-hyun looked at Yu-hyan in front of him. So this was the Beck Yu-hyan who had caused all that uproar? At a glance, he looked ordinary enough. Then please follow me to the verification site. The three quickly arrived in a metal room. This is a personal training chamber. You can practice using abilities here or conduct combat training. As discussed beforehand, verification will be carried out by observing several rounds of battle and checking for assistance from any outside program. Yu-hyan looked around. This was a place he had never seen in that world. Park Jin-hyan looked at Beck Yu-hyan. Do you agree? Ido. In that case, this will be simple. The next second, an identical appeared. I don't know this game. Is that thing strong? Isn't that the mid-tier identical? I don't know this game. Is it strong? That's nothing like the early version from the tutorial. We'll start directly with the intermediate training robot. Beck Yu-hyan's eyes changed instantly. He had activated perfect existence mode. At that moment, the voices of the dead echoed again. Yu-hyan, I am scared. Avenge me. Yu-hyan. Park Jin-hyan looked down at the test tablet in his hand. He declared the start of the fight, and the moment the words left his mouth, he was startled. Beck Yu-hyan had already vanished from beside him. A fragment came flying straight at him. He hurriedly raised the tablet to block it, afraid he'd get hit by the debris. The stream exploded again. Is he crushing a mid-tier identical with his bare hands right now? That thing can get launched by a giant iron hammer and come out without a scratch. I am trembling. Am I the only one who finds this kind of scary? Seriously scary. Identical looks pitiful. This is nuts. Yu-hyan was standing on top of Identical, holding one of its parts in his hand. But Park Jin-hyan's detection tablet read, no outside program detected. There was no way this could be hacks. That should have been the end of it. But Park Jin-hyan was not satisfied. The verification had been too short. He decided to crank up the difficulty. The next second, 3 Identities surrounded Baek Yu-hyun. Yu-hyun drew his Reaper's scythe. In real life, he looked like a bright, wholesome young guy, but in the game he was a cold and merciless god of death. In every game he played, he was like a human cheat code. Even a technical developer watching nearby stood frozen in shock. No matter what methods he used, he couldn't detect any hacks from Yu-hyun. In just a few minutes, the live viewer count shot past 100,000. The first round of testing was over, but Park Jin-hyun still hadn't gotten the result he wanted. Although no outside program was detected in this round, the verification time was rather short. Could you fight in a specific manner designated by us? Since the whole point was to determine whether he was using auto-combat hacks, Yu-hyun had no reason to refuse. Auto-combat hacks were usually run by a program controlling the player's actions. Therefore, if victory conditions were set in advance, and he could still fight according to those instructions, that would prove he wasn't hacking. Park Jin-hyun hadn't expected Yu-hyun to be so cooperative. He already knew how he wanted to test him next. Thank you. Then this time, please use the chain scythe to cut off the heads of all 3 intermediate training robots. Yu-hyun said that was fine. Seeing him agree so easily only made Park Jin-hyun more uneasy. What was going on? The conditions should have put him at a complete disadvantage, yet somehow it didn't feel like he would lose. Then 3 Identities appeared. They attacked Yu-hyun at the same time, trying to finish him in a single strike. But at the very instant they moved, Yu-hyun had already flashed to the far side. If they were going to come at him, then it was only polite to return the favor. The moment Baek Yu-hyun attacked, the chain scythe had already done its job. Identity's body was already split apart. With nothing more than a cool glance over his shoulder, all 3 Identities shattered across the floor. Even the hem of his clothes was spotless. It was a one-shot kill. Kang Soyeol immediately got excited. I knew I hadn't seen it wrong back then. That scythe flies around like it's alive. You all saw it too, right? True, but scythes are supposed to hook enemies in close range. The chain scythe is such a broken weapon. It's not the weapon that's broken, it's him. Exactly. Scythes are for close-range fighting. The scythe isn't broken. The guy using it is. It's him that's broken. Exactly. Only then did Park Jin-hyun recover from a shock. At this point, enough data had been collected for verification. But as an operator of the game, his pure curiosity began to rise. Could someone defeat an advanced training robot using only a single core trait? Strictly speaking, this was personal curiosity. Let's try one last time. As the metal door slowly opened, a pair of blood-red mechanical eyes appeared. It was a female-type Identity. The viewers could hardly believe it. The operator's going all out. If he can beat this, then he's officially a human hack. Isn't this a little too much? If he wins this, even the National Certification Office should certify him as a human hack. We will proceed with verification using an advanced training robot. This was a late-model version of Identity. Baek Yu-hyun stood across from it calmly, without a trace of emotion. But he remembered clearly, countless test subjects had died at this thing's hands. Back then, that Identity had even worn a cruel, twisted smile. The memory made killing intent surge from Baek Yu-hyun. But Identity was the first to explode into motion. It was the first time Baek Yu-hyun had been injured. A thin line of blood was drawn across his face. But standing there and taking hits was not his style. He clenched his fist and dodged Identity's barrage of punches. The air itself burst with sonic booms. One look at the wall behind him said it all. If even one of those punches landed, it would be over instantly. It really was on a completely different level from the intermediate model. In his current state, his body's hardness wasn't enough. His attacks couldn't break through its defense at all. And its speed was absurd too. In that case, he would just keep hitting until its guard broke. Kang Soyeol and Park Jin-hyun were staring in disbelief. The viewers thought he had gone mad. One hit would kill him, but it still can't touch him. This is beyond insane. I seriously have nothing to say. I'm starting to get scared. One hit would kill him, but it absolutely cannot hit him. I'm getting scared now. Even Park Jin-hyun had never imagined that someone could face an advanced training robot head-on using just one core trait. At first, Yu-hyun had seemed to be at a disadvantage, but now the momentum was gradually shifting and turning into outright pressure. Was this even reasonable? Yet it was happening right in front of them. He decided there was no need to keep watching. He tapped the screen once. The next second, Identital vanished from in front of Yu Hyan. Yu Hyan paused in surprise. He had been planning to utterly destroy Identital. Park Jin-Hyan walked toward him. We've collected all the data necessary for verification. The training robot has been removed. Only then did Yu Hyan understand why Identital had suddenly disappeared. Kong Soyul hurriedly asked about the result of the verification. The viewers wanted the answer too. It has been conclusively confirmed that there was no outside program involved. In simple terms, he was not hacking. People were really calling hacks with zero evidence. LOL. Some people just can't accept that others are better than them. Why isn't this hacking though? Why exactly? The operator officially confirmed it. Breaking news. The ones who first stirred things up claiming hacks are OpenAI proxy stream error, stream ID 471, internal error received from peer. Even Kong Soyul felt vindicated. See? I told you. It wasn't hacks. Is anyone still doubting it? But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha. How could there still be any doubt? This is what you call cheat level play. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha 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 ha. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha ha. No amount of imagination can beat an official confirmation. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha. I'd seen people hype things up before, saying stuff like even the haters would have to shut up after seeing this. This really is cheat level play. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha. I'd seen people brag about cheat level stuff before, but honestly, this is the real thing. This is actual cheat level play. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha. I'd seen people hype up so-called cheat level plays before. But why does this guy look even more excited? Ha ha. I'd seen people hype up so-called cheat level plays before. This is it. This is the real cheat level play. Cheat level play. Kong Soyul's eyes lit up when she heard that. That was actually a pretty good way to put it. Anyway, everyone, remember this clearly. Yu Hyan wasn't hacking. He just has raw skill that's on the level of hacking. Alright, now that the verification is over, could I ask each of you for one final comment? Baek Yu Hyan simply said, "Good work." Park Jin Hyan laughed and said it'd been fun. And with that, today's stream came to an end. See you all next stream. Judging from the numbers, the viewer count had surpassed 100,000. The viewers were still reluctant to leave. You're in it already? Read the room. I just got here. But it was only ever supposed to be a clarification stream in the first place. Still, today's stream was legendary. Bye-bye. And once again, thank you both for agreeing to take part in the stream. No, I should be the one thanking you for so readily agreeing to the verification request. Especially you, Yu Hyan. Unexpectedly, Park Jin Hyan was rather polite. Right after that, he prepared a log out of the game. But Baek Yu Hyan stopped him. Please wait. There's something I'd like to ask you. Park Jin Hyan froze for a moment. What I wanted to ask is, are there any bugs in the game? For example, cases where a bug makes it impossible to log out of the game. Park Jin Hyan looked completely baffled. It was the first time he'd ever heard of something like that. Well, I've never heard of anything like that. If there really were such a fatal bug, Reverse Planet couldn't possibly have become a world-class game. I see. Understood. Baek Yu Hyan still hadn't gotten the answer he wanted. Amid a curtain of particle light, Park Jin Hyan logged out. Kong Soyul let out a breath. Finally, it's over. Yu Hyan, you really worked hard today. Oh, right. Also, I'd like to settle your share of the stream revenue. Can I contact you again later? Yu Hyan felt like the money wasn't necessary, but he was fine with staying in touch. What he didn't know was that Kong Soyul had her own little scheme. It would be way too much of a waste to just let him go like this. A walking goldmine of content was right in front of her. Was there something else you wanted to say? But in the end, Kong Soyul couldn't bring herself to say it. After all, for this stream, she'd only managed to ask him for the clarification segment. Better give up for today. So she said it was nothing. Then I'll contact you next time. Looking at the pop-up in front of him, Baek Yu Hyan felt a little disappointed. He'd gained even less than he expected. Just then, the stream ended. See you in the battle prep room. The stream's over, right? Let's meet directly in the battle prep room. Jung Nayeon looked as nosy as ever. So how did streaming feel? The forums are absolutely exploding right now. You're totally blowing up. Baek Yu Hyan still felt uncomfortable with it. He had to keep an eye on the chat window, talk casually, and play at the same time. It didn't feel natural. Is that so? Then, if you don't mind. I mean, just if. What if you ignored the chat window completely and just focused on playing by yourself? Would that be okay? Yu Hyan had no idea what she was getting at. I'll set everything up for you. Just try it once, then decide. Yu Hyan hadn't expected to get dragged into streaming work again. He never wanted to do this kind of thing in the first place. Well then, it's about time we did some PvP, right? Young Nayeon really was making decisions on her own again. PvP, short for player versus player, refers to battles between players. Alongside PvE, it was one of the two god-tier core modes in Reverse Planet. PvP, so that's why you suddenly called me to the battle prep room. Of course, you're not going to quit Reverse Planet without ever fighting me, are you? That'd be heartbreaking. Yu Hyan was weak against that kind of line. It's not that. I just don't think this game suits me. I was planning to stop for a while, even going back to that distant world. But Young Nayeon kept staring him down. Reverse Planet. Don't make up your mind after only playing a bit of the tutorial. He had to admit she had a point. The story mode PvE was almost identical to the world over there, but PvP was filled with things he'd never seen before. There might be something different from story mode. Fine, I'll try it. Yay. Then let me explain PvP. First, there's duel. Just like the name says, it's a match against an opponent you get paired with. There's solo 1-on-1 and duo 2-on-2. It's best 2 out of 3. Then there are the team battle modes: occupation, contest, escort, and annihilation. One of those 4 modes gets selected for a fixed team versus team match. And what we're playing today is Survival, a battle royale where the last surviving player or team wins. 100 players are dropped into multiple zones, loot equipment, and fight it out. Survival. Since it's your first time today, let's do duo mode. She added that if they were doing PvP, they'd need a proper build first. I can recommend one for you. Baek Yu-hyan said that wouldn't be necessary. He already knew a good build, one that had earned his other self in that world the nickname Superhuman. I'll cue us while you get ready to connect. Okay, I'm ready. As for the drop point, the standard choice was the military base. The military base, one of the survival maps in PvP, was a place where all kinds of high-grade equipment were evenly distributed. Since it was crowded with high-level players, it wasn't suitable for beginners. At that moment, Young Nayeon started getting ideas again. Hey, can I record us doing PvP today? I want to upload it to a short-form video platform. Is that okay? Yu Hyan looked disgusted and told her to keep her distance. You can record it, but calm down. Yay. Then I'm connecting right now. He truly couldn't understand why she was this excited. Then, Young Nayeon pressed the button. 2 pop-up windows appeared. Starting point has been set. Zone 1, military base. Time remaining until game start, 60 seconds. Young Nayeon gave him a salute. See you alive, friend. A moment later, Yu Hyan appeared inside an abandoned building. A man in green clothes had spawned there with him. The man still hadn't realized the danger. 3rd floor corridor? Damn, there's probably nothing good to loot here. We need to move somewhere else. The moment he finished speaking, Baek Yu-hyan appeared behind him. Then flames burst upward. Young Nayeon stared at the sudden pop-up. Baek Yu-hyan killed Lucky Day. She hadn't expected it to happen so fast. A kill right from the start. As expected, Hacker God level moves really are different. Then several more pop-ups appeared in rapid succession. Baek Yu-hyan killed Pointy Rice. Baek Yu-hyan killed Fried Chicken is true love. Baek Yu-hyan killed Kim On. Baek Yu-hyan killed How Did I Even Die? Baek Yu-hyan killed Strongest Jeonj. Young Nayeon was stunned. For the first time, she got to experience the kind of thrill Kong Soyeol had felt. But to one anonymous viewer with the ID 62, Baek Yu-hyan, this human weapon, felt a chill run through his entire body. This stream, from the very beginning, had been set up as a hunting ground for him. And Young Nayeon, who usually looked like a delicate girl, turned out to be a genius with devilish instincts. To fulfill her streaming dream, Yu Hyan racked up 10 straight kills, as if he were slicing vegetables. The match had only just begun, as player names kept dropping one after another. Young Nayeon was left speechless. What on earth was Yu Hyan doing? Then another player named Slime Monster was taken out. Fatal wound, chest. Yu Hyan was starting to wonder if he was the last survivor in the area. He couldn't sense any other players nearby anymore. But what he hadn't expected was to run into 4 people at once on his way down. To him, though, that just meant a few extra moves. He carved through them as casually as chopping melons and vegetables and sent them all off together. If you're teammates, then even dying should be done neatly side by side. Since he was done looting, he started heading out at a leisurely pace. But just then, he received a distress message from Young Nayeon. Baek Yu-hyan, help me. There are too many enemies here. I'm completely surrounded. Baek Yu-hyan checked the share map. She was in the block across from him. Pretty far. Even so, he said he was on his way. Where are you in the building? I'm on the rooftop on the 3rd floor. But the sounds of fighting downstairs are no joke right now. It sounds like every floor is in combat. Be careful. As soon as Baek Yu-hyan went downstairs, he ran into two players. They were both startled. Hey, be behind you. What the hell is that guy? Why is he so fast? They couldn't make sense of it. One of them reacted decisively and immediately told his partner to prepare his ability while he tried to block. But before he could finish speaking, Yu-hyan had already sent him to hell and even chopped off one of his arms in the process. A pop-up appeared. Yu-hyan killed Tiger, attribute. The other players stared in disbelief. What is this? A physical enhancement build, but with agility stats. Purple-black mist rose from both of his hands. Then he slammed them down onto the floor. The purple-black mist formed a forest of spikes more than 10 meters long across the ground. As the attack rushed at him, Yu-hyan leaped into the air, looking as if he were about to do a backflip. The instant he landed, the man was dead. He had never imagined Yu-hyan could calculate things that precisely. Yu-hyan killed baby T-Rex. After finishing off the two of them, Yu-hyan didn't pause for even a second. He broke into a light run. Young Na-yeon was still waiting for him. Soon the next unlucky victim appeared, a short-haired blonde player named by Me Fried Chicken. He quickly arrived in front of Young Na-yeon's building. She hadn't expected him to get there so fast and playfully asked whether he needed backup. Yu-hyan told her to stay where she was. He grabbed the doorknob, sensing how many people were inside. Apparently, there were 5. The moment he opened the door, one camper who had been hiding behind it with a weapon already waiting immediately broke into a twisted grin at the sight of Baek Yu-hyan and brought his blade down without hesitation. But Yu-hyan moved first and seized his wrist. The man was shocked. Then he felt like he'd been hit by a truck. That single punch sent him straight to the grave. Even so, Yu-hyan seemed dissatisfied. Looks like I need to push my speed up even more. Then he bounded up the stairs in a few jumps. A string of pop-ups appeared again. He took down 4 more players in one breath. Even from the rooftop, Young Na-yeon could only stare. Again, this guy's insane. He's completely farming noobs. But the very next second, she jolted. She swung the weapon in her hands horizontally without hesitation, crackling with electricity. It turned out Yu-hyan had arrived. Naturally, Young Na-yeon's attack was easily dodged by him. What the you scared me. I only noticed you when you got right next to me. He was already at 14 kills all by himself. At that moment, Young Na-yeon looked nothing like her usual self. Holding a chainsaw sparking with electricity, she looked like a complete devil. It was Baek Yu-hyan's first time seeing that side of her. This was the only thing I could find around here. He honestly felt like she probably didn't need his help after all. Young Na-yeon gave an awkward smile. This was the only weapon I could find around here. Then she quickly changed the subject. So, have you cleared out all the enemies in this building already? With a weapon in hand, she was getting cocky and shamelessly declared that she'd carry Baek Yu-hyan for the rest of the match. In the end, the two of them finished that duo survival game in first place. After that, they played 10 more rounds, and every single one ended with them taking first place. By then, Young Na-yeon was exhausted. She hadn't expected them to actually get 10 straight wins. I seriously don't have the energy to keep streaming today. I'll have to stop here. But the way she looked at Yu-hyan was strange. She had thought he was just an ordinary college student friend. Turns out he was a crazed human weapon. No matter what, she was determined to drag Baek Yu-hyan into the streaming world. Yu-hyan, of course, had no idea what she was thinking. Then Young Na-yeon started acting pitiful again. Could you maybe, just for 2 days, not take on a main quest yet? Wait for me. During that time, I'll come up with a proper streaming proposal. Yu-hyan said he wasn't interested. Besides, he hadn't planned on doing any main quest anyway. But Young Na-yeon was Young Na-yeon. She immediately started taking charge on her own again. Just hear me out, okay? I'll prepare really thoroughly and come back. With that, she logged off, not giving Yu-hyan any chance to refuse again. That left only Yu-hyan behind, speechless. Once again, he came away disappointed. He hadn't found any clues in PvP either. At that moment, Kang So-yeol was comfortably lying on her bed, scrolling through her phone. She was browsing the Reverse Planet forums. Naturally, the posts were about her and Yu-hyan. The more she read, the more she rolled around on the bed, giggling to herself. Dayback, this is insane. 100,000 viewers? Could something like this really happen in my streaming career? If only I could keep streaming with pro god Yu-hyan forever. She felt like she should have clung to him more stubbornly earlier. But she seemed to have forgotten that Yu-hyan had clearly said he wasn't interested in streaming. He had been firm from the very start. But what mattered most now was the settlement. Let's see how much came in first. The moment she checked, her eyes widened. The next day, Young Na-yeon called Yoo Hyun out again, bringing a laptop with her. Yoo Hyun looked distracted. You called me out all of a sudden. I thought it was something important. Cold sweat appeared on Yoo Hyun's forehead. What is this? On the screen was an adorable blue cat. What else? This is the PPT I stayed up all night making to persuade you. I stayed up all night making this. Yoo Hyun was utterly speechless. She had stayed up all night for something of this quality? Yoo Hyun, didn't you say that if it was a stream where you didn't have to interact with viewers and could just focus on playing, then it'd be okay? Yoo Hyun didn't remember ever saying that. But Young Na-yeon launched straight into her pitch. So, what do you think about an observational variety format? Observational variety? Yoo Hyun clearly wasn't familiar with the term. It's a format where several cast members gather in a studio and watch footage of another cast member. You play the game, and I handle the interaction. If you think just me isn't enough, we can even invite a professional commentator. I'll give you 60% of the profit. I'll take 40. Not bad, right? I said I'm not interested. No, really, I don't think you understand how profitable streaming can be. Wait, didn't you receive the settlement payment from Soyeol already? Hearing that, Yoo Hyun finally remembered. Come to think of it, he had received an email that morning. But because of Young Na-yeon rushing him out, he hadn't had time to check it yet. He opened the email. The subject line read, Yoo Hyun, I'm explaining your first settlement payment. Kang Soyeol had voluntarily split off 6 million won for him. As your first settlement payment, I've transferred the agreed 6 million won share to you. Please send me your account information. P.S. There was a fun donation message. Young Na-yeon was so jealous she nearly exploded. How much? S6 million. Then she stared at him. After seeing that amount, you still don't want to stream? But what concerned Yoo Hyun most was the mention of a message. The next instant, his expression changed completely. All of those messages had been sent by someone named Anonymous Viewer 62. Hello, Mr. Yoo Hyun. It's good to see you again. How does it feel to be back in reality? A new special mission has already been prepared for you. Let's meet again through the stream from now on. Beneath every single message was a huge amount of money. Yoo Hyun could no longer stay calm. The number 62 was something he could never forget for the rest of his life. This person knew he had returned from over there. Combined with that nickname, it felt as if they were directly targeting him as Subject 62. Who is it? Yoo Hyun shot to his feet. Who knows I came back from there? He turned to Young Na-yeon. Can you find out the donor's information? Young Na-yeon looked confused. Why are you suddenly asking that? Because of privacy protection, that's basically impossible, right? Yoo Hyun stared fixedly at his phone. It wasn't possible to message the person privately first either. The only way to communicate would be through a live stream. Then he told Young Na-yeon that he agreed with her proposal. He would do the stream. The sudden happiness was so overwhelming that Young Na-yeon had to ask again to make sure. Oh, really? You can't take it back later. She immediately posted an announcement. Breaking news. Hacker God to appear on a personal stream. August 2nd, 2041, 7 p.m. Hacker God sightseeing content coming soon. Even after the man had proven himself to be the Scythe Reaper, he was still being hunted by the Research Institute's guards. In reality, 3 million people crammed into the live stream, all just to watch Hacker God Yoo Hyun play. But what shocked the most was that Yoo Hyun began revealing information about the future. What they didn't know was that he had once been trapped inside the game for 10 years. He had fought his way up from a lowly test subject to a superhuman. To him, every mode in the game was child's play. Friday evening was beautiful. People were enjoying their free time, each with their own expectations. And those who proudly called themselves gaming nerds were all gathered in front of their computers with complete focus. What they cared about most right then was the collaborative stream involving Yoo Hyun and the others. But who the heck is Young Na-yeon? Still, some people knew of her. She does personal streams. I heard she's friends with Hacker God. By then, some viewers had already ordered fried chicken and were waiting for the game stream to begin. 5 minutes before the game started, inside the studio for the commentary broadcast, Young Na-yeon was embarrassingly nervous. She was trembling. Cha Sung-cheol, who seemed like a decent guy, comforted her from the side. Don't worry too much. You prepared thoroughly. Nothing's going to go wrong. Cha Sung-cheol was a professional reverse planet commentator. To ease the awkwardness, he scratched his head. I never thought anyone besides Miss Soyeol would be able to invite Hacker God. The only reason he had agreed so readily was because Young Na-yeon had said she was Yoo Hyun's friend. The live stream entered the countdown immediately. By then, Young Nayeon had gotten herself under control. Hello, everyone. I am Young Nayeon. It's great to see you all. Viewers, hello. I am Fa Sungkho. Comments flooded in right away. Huh? Where's Hacker God? Where is he? What the heck? Where's Hacker God? Bring out Hacker God. Cold sweat formed on Young Nayeon's face. Looks like a lot of people are panicking because they didn't see Hacker God at the start. But it's too early to be disappointed. Hacker God is already in the game. The screen immediately switched to in-game footage. Baek Yoo-hyun had already enabled personal information protection mode. The chat room exploded. It's Hacker God. Ban all the idiots who said this was clickbait. Why does he look so cool just spinning that short sword? I'm so excited right now, I'm trembling. As you can see, the content of this Hacker God feature will be presented in an observation variety format. In other words, we'll watch Hacker God's gameplay while offering commentary and analysis. I'm sure everyone's curious how exactly Hacker God is going to play RP. So let's find out. Then Young Nayeon connected to Yoo-hyun. It began. Dimensional Management Bureau notice. Please rescue the survivors so they can safely withdraw from the forest and regroup with our forces. Then a pop-up appeared. Main quest. Regroup with the Dimensional Management Bureau. Avoid the guards searching for the escape test subject and regroup with the Dimensional Management Bureau stationed at the outer edge of the forest. Baek Yoo-hyun knew this one well. It was exactly like back then. In that world, simply trying to survive had already taken everything he had. But this time, he suddenly let out a roar. Naturally, that drew the attention of the guards. Over there, flank him from 3 sides. It was obvious Yoo-hyun had done on purpose. He was going to avenge the dead. Facing 3 enemies on the ground and 2 in the air, Baek Yoo-hyun rested his hand on his chain sickle. He had only one goal: kill them all. This was the wish his comrades had left behind. At once, 2 of the enemy opened fire with machine guns. While dodging, Yoo-hyun swung the chain sickle and struck one of the machine guns with perfect accuracy. First exchange, cold weapon victory. The guards were visibly shocked. Then one of them was swallowed by an explosion. Baek Yoo-hyun flickered upward into the air. The guard laughed when he saw it. Idiot, you delivered yourself right to us. But Yoo-hyun's hands hadn't been idle. He had already thrown out the chain. What the 2 guards failed to notice was that it had looped around behind them. After circling around once, it tied itself into a knot. Yoo-hyun yanked hard with both hands. The 2 men slammed into each other instantly. Baek Yoo-hyun jerked the chain again. Both of them smashed brutally into the ground. A spray of tomato juice burst out at once. Yoo-hyun dropped from the sky and sent them on their final journey. It turned out he had already entered perfect existence mode. At that moment, he was mysterious and overwhelmingly powerful. Young Nayeon's jaw practically hit the floor. This is not the RP I know. Even Cha Sung-cheol was deeply shocked. I've been commentating RP for a long time, and this is the first time I've ever seen anyone play it like this. No strategic thinking at all. He just pulled all the enemies to himself. But the viewers understood Baek Yoo-hyun better. He suddenly started shouting. I thought he'd gone crazy, so I came to see LOL. That is strategy. Why bother searching? Just make the enemies come to you. Isn't that common sense? I thought he'd only kill monsters he ran into. I got startled while doing something else and came running over, ha ha ha. I'm reflecting on myself now. The chat was in utter chaos. One viewer named I Love Cats even donated 50,000 won and commented, "Isn't perfect existence way too broken? What kind of skill doesn't even have a cooldown?" Young Nayeon turned to Cha Sung-cheol. What do you think about the opinion that perfect existence is too overpowered? I can say this with certainty, absolutely not. Most skills have an inherent cooldown. That's why a fighting style like nuclear weapon seats, which doesn't rely on cooldowns and directly uses core actions, can look a lot like cheating. But perfect existence merely amplifies physical ability. It doesn't improve battle IQ or weapon proficiency. And nuclear weapon seed is even playing in no assist mode. To put it extremely, as long as his physical specs could keep up, he could fight like that in real life too. In other words, it's precisely because nuclear weapon seed is the one using it that perfect existence can display that kind of performance. Just then, a voice entered Baek Yoo-hyun's ears. They had surrounded him. He saw 4 pitch-black gun barrels aimed at him. Then the man in front spoke. "We're from the Otherworld Management Bureau. Put down your weapon and surrender quietly." His name was Kim Cheol. The so-called Otherworld Management Bureau was a government agency that swept up individuals invading through portals. Its main job was to take dangerous intruders and confine them in the reverse world where dimensional chaos ran rampant to be purged. Yu Haiyan raised both hands. Director Kim Cheol, no, at this point in time, he should still be a team leader. He never expected to see him here. Kim Cheol also noticed the clothes Yu Haiyan was wearing. So you're a victim who escaped from the Institute. My apologies. I was rude. Everyone stand down. Yu Haiyan said it was fine. Then about the radio, he explained that one of the Institute's key personnel had given it to him. A trace of sorrow appeared on Kim Cheol's face. So they were sacrificed. Team leader Kim Cheol was just as humane here as he had been over there. Until we can confirm your identity, please remain with the Otherworld Management Bureau. Sometimes people connected to the Institute pretend to be victims. He then ordered his team members to withdraw. As for being invited in for tea, Yu Haiyan was already quite used to it. He didn't particularly mind. Thank you for your cooperation. I'll show you the way. At that moment, the system chimed. Main quest. Join up with the Otherworld Management Bureau. Complete. Level increased. Obtained 1 ability point. Otherworld Management Bureau Headquarters. Yu Haiyan sat in a consultation room at the Otherworld Management Bureau. Even he hadn't expected to end up here. In that world, after escaping the lab, he had taken corporate requests while raising money for revenge. Some of those jobs had included assassination and kidnapping, but the largest portion had been subjugation missions in the reverse world. Corporations would conduct raids into the reverse world on their own in pursuit of spoils, then dump the cleanup work on him if they decided the loot wasn't useful. Naturally, that meant he had no choice but to get entangled with the Otherworld Management Bureau. They had cooperated on suppression missions before, but there had also been several times when conflict arose and they ended up drawing blades against each other. Just then, the sound of high heels rang out. Hello, Mr. Yu Haiyan. I'm Li Eugene, an agent from Team 1 of the Otherworld Management Bureau. The live stream perked up again at the sight of a beauty. Big Sis Eugene, Solby, as expected of a top 3 RP beauty. TSK. Li Eugene. Hello. Li Eugene pulled over a chair and sat down. You must have had a hard trip here. Right now, there are 2 choices before you, Mr. Yu Haiyan. First, accept the protection of the Otherworld Management Bureau and live as a civilian. In that case, the use of abilities is strictly forbidden. Second, become an agent affiliated with the Otherworld Management Bureau. Of course, choosing the latter doesn't mean you can immediately work as a full-fledged agent. You'll need to undergo proper training, and only after being judged ready will you be deployed into actual combat. Yu Haiyan said nothing. In that world, he had even killed agents of the Otherworld Management Bureau, and now he was supposed to become one of them. Then Li Eugene's voice rang out again. So then, civilian or agent, which will you choose? For the first time, Yu Haiyan looked a little tense. The man had merely used the simplest quick draw slash, yet shattered the mental defenses of the genius pro gamer facing him. No matter how he attacked, Yu Haiyan could kill him in a single move. That was the gap between a genius and a god-tier cheater. Faced with Li Eugene's question, what should he choose, civilian or agent? Yu Haiyan thought it over. If he chose civilian, then just like over there, he would probably end up taking corporate requests. He didn't want to walk that road here too. Besides, he was curious about how the Otherworld Management Bureau operated on the inside. So without hesitation, he chose to become an agent of the Otherworld Management Bureau. Li Eugene was very pleased with his decision. Good choice. Having you join us will be a huge help. Lately, the corporations keep luring away awakened people, so we're seriously short on manpower. Li Eugene sounded helpless too. After all, not many people could refuse high pay, and she wasn't saying that just because she herself was an agent of the Bureau. Still, she had heard that many people regretted signing with corporations. The reason was that corporations were only just getting started. They clearly lacked experience in training awakened individuals. Many times, they wouldn't even take responsibility for accidents that happened during training. By contrast, the Otherworld Management Bureau was an organization with a long history. It had abundant experience both in training awakened people and subjugating the reverse world. But Baek Yu-hyan wasn't some naive innocent. He knew far more than Eugene did. Sure enough, the pay really was better on the corporate side, but there were correspondingly more dangerous jobs too. Over there as well, many awakened people had lost their lives while carrying out corporate requests. There were even companies that acted like, no money, but if you want a life, here's ours, and refused to pay. Though in the end, he had literally slit open their bellies before collecting his money. That incident had exposed his status as an unregistered awakened, and the Otherworld Management Bureau had tracked him for quite some time because of it. Come to think of it, that was when he had first met director Kim Cheol. Lee Eugene said she would now ask the data processing team to register Baek Yu-hyan as an awakened. Then she pushed a phone toward him and said it was for work. Baek Yu-hyan looked at the phone. So what should I do first? As I said before, you'll first train as an intern. Once your abilities have been verified, you'll be promoted. That's also when your team assignment will be decided. But Lee Eugene had her own hopes. Since he'd be assigned to a team anyway, she wished he could join Team 1 with her. Baek Yu-hyan still had enough social sense to answer properly. I sincerely hope so too. After all, I still owe you a debt from over there. Although many conflicts had happened afterward, it had been Lee Eugene who delivered the message to the innocent victims imprisoned in the Institute. The one making that broadcast back then had been Lee Eugene. Thanks to the raid on the Institute that she led, he and his companions had been able to survive. The two quickly reached an understanding. At that moment, young Nyan outside the game could no longer stay calm. Wait, hold on a second. Everyone, doesn't this feel a little strange? Isn't his conversation with the NPC way too natural? In her memory, NPCs weren't supposed to be capable of actual communication. She had every reason to suspect that the route had branched somewhere in the middle, and the Lee Eugene she had seen had been like this. I can't believe it. I suspected it, but it really is a fully responsive AI. Cha Sung-cheol trembled with excitement. The viewers weren't much better. Reverse Planet really is a masterpiece. This is actually possible? What the heck is a fully responsive AI? A fully responsive AI was an AI NPC capable of handling any situation or request completely. Unlike existing NPCs, it could communicate freely. Because it was a technology that consumed an extreme amount of resources, the industry generally considered it impossible to implement in an online game. Did they somehow solve the resource problem perfectly? Probably not, turning the impossible into possible. If that were the case, there'd be no reason to hide that kind of AI as an Easter egg like this. Turning the impossible into possible. Reverse Planet would have advertised it all over the world already. The ad headline would definitely say this. Reverse Planet lets you talk to NPCs. Reverse Planet, turning the impossible into possible. Reverse Planet, the first in the world to feature fully responsive AI technology, turning the impossible into possible. Reverse Planet's fully responsive AI. It's probably set so that the technology only activates once all certain conditions are met. And the minimum condition is probably that you have to start with no correction. After all, the only difference between Nuclear Weapon Seat and the other players was that his combat correction had been set to 0. Young Nyan stared like someone who had never seen the world before. Baek Yu-hyan, you really are something. Anyway, forums everywhere gonna explode, right? Definitely. I'm so curious what kind of statement Planet Earth will release that I don't think I'll be able to sleep. The two commentators had excellent chemistry, and since he was deeply interested in Reverse Planet's story, he would surely find this situation fascinating too. They might even be able to invite a major guest next time. By the way, unfortunately, that's the end of today's Promise Story broadcast, right? That's right. Please look forward to the continuation in the next stream. Starting now, we'll move on to the PvP segment. The viewers were displeased. Don't cut it off here. How long are we supposed to wait for the next stream? Meanwhile, in the battle prep room, Baek Yu-hyan was already ready. He had been waiting the whole time for anonymous Viewer 62 to appear. He had specifically told Young Nyan that if someone with the ID Anonymous Viewer 62 donated or left a comment, she had to tell him immediately, no matter what he was doing. Young Nyan didn't know why, but she had agreed. Since she still hadn't contacted him, he figured he'd have to keep streaming a little longer. At that moment, he sent Young Nyan a message. I'm ready. Then let's continue with PvP. Today's segment is Duel. For reference, this is Nuclear Weapon Seat's first time playing duel mode, so he'll have to start from the normal league. For viewers who may not know, Reverse Planet has a total of 8 ranks, from Bronze, all the way to challenger. And to enter the bronze rank, you must first get 10 wins in the normal league. Statistically, pro players take an average of 30 minutes, while ordinary players take 2 hours. The viewers started self-reflecting. Damn, I'm below average. There are a ton of smurf accounts in this game, so matchmaking luck matters a lot too. Mission: reach bronze within 30 minutes. Reward upon completion: 500,000 won. Young Nayeon's eyes went wide at that. She immediately sent Baek Yu-hyeon a message. Hey, we got our first mission. Is a 10-win streak in 30 minutes possible? Baek Yu-hyeon gave an okay sign. Oh, that confidence. Does he think pro players are pushovers? Huh, that's not confidence. That's just arrogance. Hurry up. This just got incredibly exciting. All right, can nuclear weapon seat pull it off? Please stay with us until the end. But what came next would be an even bigger shock. PvP duel mode. Normal solo match found. Zone 6. Residential district. 10 seconds until the first round begins. The next moment, Cha Sung-cheol was startled. Baek Yu-hyeon had taken out a weapon he had never seen before. His opponent was thrilled. A melee specialized build? As long as he doesn't get close, this is basically a free win. Clearly, they had all underestimated nuclear weapon C. As the countdown ended, the first round officially began. The opponent immediately used the ranged attack cold burst. But in the next second, a line appeared across his body. Because Baek Yu-hyeon had already finished his move. The poor opponent was cleanly split in two. Round 1 over. Winner: Baek Yu-hyeon. Loser: Anonymous. Current score: Baek Yu-hyeon 1 o'clock Anonymous. The next round followed immediately. That anonymous player was unbelievably unlucky because he ran into Baek Yu-hyeon again. Oh, come on. Matched with a smurf again. Isudanav. Due to anonymous surrender, the duel ended. Loser: Anonymous. Winner: Baek Yu-hyeon. Loser: Anonymous. Then came the second match. Baek Yu-hyeon swung once, and his opponent's attack was sliced apart on the spot. Just how absurd were Baek Yu-hyeon's god-tier mechanics? Not only did he later secure a 30-win streak, he even reduced a cheater to a limbless wreck. Even Battler, the world's most famous pro gamer, felt the urge to challenge him. But the person the viewers feared most was Young Nayeon. At that moment, only the second PvP match had just begun. The opponent only had time to say, "My spear of shadows," before his body, just like the first one's, was cut in half. It could only be said that Baek Yu-hyeon was too strong. Every kill was a one-shot. Current score: Gaeg Hyundoi 0 Pinaplebun. Winner: Baek Yu-hyeon. Loser: Pinaplebun. Next was the third match. This guy apparently practiced Taekwondo. He leaped high the moment the match started, leaving his opening wide open. There was no way Baek Yu-hyeon would let such a chance pass. He drew a kill line straight across him. Hay-eating guinea pig died as dead could be. The fourth round, as usual, was another instant kill. And so, Baek Yu-hyeon rapidly harvested one opponent after another. Before long, he secured 10 straight wins. The time it took was only 20 minutes. Young Nayeon and Cha Sung-cheol were both stunned. And by then, Baek Yu-hyeon's rank had risen from normal to bronze. A 10-game winning streak in 20 minutes? Young Nayeon could hardly get her words out. She was diamond rank. Yet in front of Baek Yu-hyeon, she looked completely outclassed. That's incredible. How should I put it? I feel weirdly deprived. Cha Sung-cheol hadn't expected it either. 10 straight wins in 20 minutes. The viewers were thoroughly shaken too. He straight up broke the pro record. What even is this? If I had to sum it up in one word, it'd be GOAT. The time is insane, sure, but what's even more amazing is his match record. Normally, if you run into a bad attribute matchup or a high-risk build, your performance fluctuates. I personally struggle against fire builds, but no matter what kind of build nuclear weapon seat faced, he showed absolutely no drop in performance throughout the entire set. It was just quick and decisive from start to finish. Pinecone donated 500,000 won. No, seriously, how do you even do that? Another viewer, Pinecone, donated 500,000 won. Pinecone donated 500,000 won. No, seriously, how do you even do that? Young Nayeon lit up the moment she saw the money. Thank you for the donation, Pinecone. What kind of scenes are we going to see in the upcoming ranked matches? I can't wait. Same here. But honestly, I'm a little worried too. Because this is a live stream. Sniping him should be easy, right? So that was what he was worried about, Baek Yu-hyeon. Even so, the odds of a successful snipe weren't high. He hoped he was just worrying for nothing. The moment he said that, a pop-up appeared. PvP duel mode, ranked solo, match found. Zone 11, public cemetery. He got him. When he saw who had appeared, Baek Yu-hyan froze for a moment. But the blonde guy started spewing insults the second he appeared. "You shameless district rat. Finally got you. Watch closely, boys. Class is in session. Time to teach this hacker a lesson." And he's still calling him a hacker, this clown. See that, boys? That's the average level of stream snipers. The viewers also started chiming in. The game company already said he isn't. First ranked game, and he's already getting sniped. Anyone still yelling hacker at this point is just pathetic. Seriously, what a real pro. And he's calling him a hacker? What a joke. Baek Yu-hyan placed his hand on the sword hilt. Seeing that, Cha Sung-cheol laughed. Nuclear weapon seat didn't take the bait. Young Na-yeon immediately cut in, because I told him to ignore people like this when it happens. And also, then the first round officially began. The man instantly activated elemental power. Electricity crackled all over his body. With a whoosh, he shot toward Baek Yu-hyan, drawing a golden arc of lightning through the air. "Die, you hacking bastard." But every punch he threw was easily dodged by Baek Yu-hyan. Not a single one landed. So who's getting taught a lesson here? Wasn't this supposed to be the class? He's seriously getting played like a monkey. This is so embarrassing. He came in so confident too. I wanted to watch this a little longer. Just then, Baek Yu-hyan drew his sword. It was just one simple slash. It struck the blonde guy right in the abdomen. What a waste of time. Round 1 over. The winner was, of course, Baek Yu-hyan. But even while dying, the blonde guy still mouthed off. Monster-level hacker. The next round began right away. There was a 10-second prep time in between. The blonde guy apparently still had some sense of shame. He felt humiliated. If this kept up, he'd lose for sure. It looked like he had no choice but to use that. As the second round officially began, the blonde guy once again crackled with electricity. Baek Yu-hyan looked puzzled. Somehow, the atmosphere felt sharper and heavier than before. This time, the blonde guy had improved. His movements were incredibly efficient, almost like Admiral's. But his attacks were still useless. When he realized he still couldn't hit Baek Yu-hyan, his expression twisted. "Do you get it now, you cheating bastard? I was going easy on you in the first round." The moment he said that, a barrage of punches rained down on Baek Yu-hyan. He was getting pummeled like a sandbag. Baek Yu-hyan now knew that his earlier feeling hadn't been wrong. So this was what they meant by a hack. He remembered. Even if you run into people who call you a cheater and deliberately provoke you, you should crush them as thoroughly as possible. That was what she had said. But hearing words like that come out of young Na-yeon's mouth somehow made them terrifying. Then Baek Yu-hyan entered perfect existence mode. A deep, ghostly aura spread from him. Seeing that, cold sweat formed on the blonde guy's forehead. What was this? The atmosphere had suddenly changed, but he told himself there was no need to be afraid. No matter how he looked at it, he still had the overwhelming advantage. Then he attacked on his own. "Why you? Stop putting on an act, you hacker." But in the next second, Baek Yu-hyan vanished from where he stood. He slashed once and passed right by the blonde guy. A spray of red burst out. "You bastard." But in the next second, Baek Yu-hyan appeared beside him again. With one swing, he cut into the man's arm. The blonde guy let out a scream and threw his other fist in retaliation. "Bastard." But Baek Yu-hyan's title as a human weapon wasn't just for show. He swung straight at the arm that was punching toward him. At that, the blonde guy nearly burst into tears. Both his arms were ruined. How was he supposed to fight now? Young Na-yeon and Cha Sung-cheol were left speechless. Everyone could it be? Yes. It looks like he's deliberately not landing the finishing blow, right? He's had plenty of chances. Looks like that's exactly it. He really does listen well to Miss Na-yeon's advice. Young Na-yeon looked a little guilty. I mean, I did say he should crush him completely. What kind of advice is she going to give next? Nothing but fear. The live stream was exploding at this point. A monster created by Young Na-yeon. "I'm shaking. Terrifying woman." He's doing that because of Young Na-yeon's advice. What is she going to suggest next? Only fear. The blonde guy was definitely terrified. "Damn it, what the hell are you?" Baek Yu-hyan pointed his sword at him. "I'll give your own words right back to you." Then he finally ended it for him. With that, round 2 was over. After that, Baek Yu-hyan continued dueling with unstoppable momentum. In one go, he reached a 30-win streak. Young Na-yeon and Cha Sung-cheol both looked dazed. He had already reached gold rank. Unbelievable. No one had expected him to set a 30-win streak record on his debut stream. I was so tense I could barely breathe. So this is what people mean by smuffing. What on earth do you have to grow up eating to become like that? Please, can't you at least tell us the build? That question was hard for Young Nayeon to answer. Reveal the build? Normally people are pretty reluctant about that, but should I go ask him? She immediately sent Baek Yu-hyan a message. Yu-hyan, would it be okay to reveal this build? If you'd rather not, you can say no. To her surprise, Baek Yu-hyan agreed right away. Young Nayeon instantly got excited. Wow, everyone, godlike controls, said he'll reveal the build. I'll organize it and upload it to the community after the stream ends. The viewers hadn't expected happiness to come so suddenly. Isn't that usually super sensitive information? That just means he's confident. Really? He's revealing the build. Isn't that usually super sensitive information? That just means he's confident. I just casually asked, and it actually happened. That just means he's confident. Isn't revealing your build usually a really sensitive thing? In the end, all they could say was that Baek Yu-hyan was incredibly confident. Young Nayeon and Cha Sung-chul then bowed deeply. See you all next stream. Thank you for watching for so long. After the stream ended, Cha Sung-chul got excited too. Wow, seriously wow, right? A fully responsive AI, 30 straight wins, and he even revealed the build. All the major communities are going to explode. At this rate, won't he set a new record? What's the current record for win streaks again? In Young Nayeon's eyes, she could already see endless money. Right now, the highest win streak record in Duel is Pro Player Battler's 76 wins. He said it while practicing on a Smuff account. Anyway, I hope Yu-hyan breaks that record. No, if it's Yu-hyan, he definitely can. I completely agree. And with Battler being famous for his competitiveness, he's probably watching godlike controls right now. Just as they expected, the game forums were already in an uproar. Even more unexpectedly, the blonde guy had been reported for hacking and permanently banned. There was also one post that caught someone's attention. Even if Battler came, he still wouldn't win. And the person reading that post was none other than Battler himself. He found it very interesting. The girl had only used her ability for the first time, yet she had been stabbed in the back by her own trainee. But what she never could have expected was that the one who would save her at the crucial moment was Baek Yu-hyan. Was this really the junior who once needed her training? What she didn't know was that Baek Yu-hyan had been trapped in the game for a full 10 years, suffering through countless hardships until he became something beyond human. Handling a reverse planet that hadn't even reached medium scale was child's play for him. A few days later, the second stream officially began. Anonymous Viewer 62 ultimately did not appear in the previous broadcast. Baek Yu-hyan fell into thought. Was there still something lacking? Just then, Lee Eugene waved at him. Junior. Today, she was dressed quite provocatively. Black stockings and a uniform. Even the viewers were getting hard eyes through the screen. As expected of one of Reverse Planet's top 3 beauties. She was truly gorgeous. Your first live mission. Aren't you nervous? But anyone who knew Baek Yu-hyan knew she had asked the wrong person. Although the real mission had come sooner than expected, to Baek Yu-hyan, it was child's play. And the moment he logged into the game, a new quest window popped up. His first live mission had been assigned. Lee Eugene. Change into combat gear and meet at the designated location. Lee Eugene. Baek Yu-hyan thought this was pretty nice. He got to skip training. But what exactly was this mission? Lee Eugene told him, we're conducting a full sweep of the invasive entities inside Reverse Planet and sealing the space. We received a report saying it might be exposed. And this place was abandoned by a corporation too. When a sweep might benefit them, they'll allow it and watch from the sidelines. But once they decide there's nothing to gain, they leave the place a total mess and walk away. Lee Eugene clearly hated those profit-obsessed corporations. Baek Yu-hyan agreed completely. As expected, corporations were the same everywhere. Small, insect-type invasive entities. Their danger rating was low. They were individually weak, but there were so many of them that they were a huge nuisance to deal with. As soon as the two reached the entrance, the soldiers saluted. Loyalty. I'm Staff Sergeant Park Ji-hyun. Are you two awakened agents from the Otherworld Management Bureau? Lee Eugene immediately showed her ID. Yes, thank you for your hard work. Verification complete. You may proceed inside. The two soldiers were also amazed. This was their first time seeing a gate appear in an abandoned factory. Baek Yu-hyan and Li Eugene walked up to the gate. But Baek Yu-hyan found it strangely familiar. It turned out to be a place he had also seen in that world, but back then, it definitely hadn't been small scale. It had been medium scale. Was there some kind of mistake? Just as they were about to enter, a bark-like voice rang out. Well, if it isn't our senior Li Eugene, what brings you all the way out to a small-scale sweep? This insolent guy was Choi Hyong-cheol, an awakened one affiliated with Jumsun Electronics. Li Eugene looked surprised too. Choi Hyong-cheol, why are you? You scared me there. I didn't think my assignment would overlap with yours, senior. Li Eugene clearly disliked them. They had been so decisive when they washed their hands of the place, and now they were back to do a mission? They had to be plotting something. Plotting? That hurts to hear. He then turned to Baek Yu-hyan. And who's this? A new junior? He even stepped closer to Baek Yu-hyan. Why suffer at the bureau? How about coming to work for a corporation instead? Hearing that, Li Eugene looked ready to beat the crap out of him. Mr. Choi Hyong-cheol, please stop crossing the line. Choi Hyong-cheol exaggeratedly raised both hands and stepped back a few paces. Got it. Scary. I'll leave this side to you. You handle it, senior. Good luck. Baek Yu-hyan asked who he was. Li Eugene pressed a hand to her face. He was the first probationary agent I ever trained. She felt like her blood sugar was dropping. After that bastard accepted a corporation's offer and left, he started spreading malicious rumors about the bureau. Then she pulled out a fruit candy. Want one? Cha Song-cheol was surprised too. This is the first time they've shown Li Eugene and Choi Hyong-cheol's relationship in such detail, right? It's my first time seeing it too. Normally, they just vaguely brush it off with something bad happened in the past. It looks like under the influence of the fully responsive AI, the game is providing a much deeper storyline. Some viewers thought that if the game could really produce hidden storylines like this, that would be insane. And if it was Planet Earth, maybe it really did have something hidden. Li Eugene steadied herself. Let's stop talking about depressing things. We should go in. Baek Yu-hyan understood. As the energy fluctuated, Choi Hyong-cheol and his group immediately sensed it. Looks like they went in. Choi Hyong-cheol licked his lips. Then let's get to work too. Baek Yu-hyan and Li Eugene had just stepped through the gate. There was another gate beyond it. Li Eugene said this was the passage leading to Reverse Planet. Once they passed through the gate on the other side, they would enter Reverse Planet. I see, just like in that other world. But in the very next second, something changed abruptly. The gate became unstable. Baek Yu-hyan suspected it was a sudden anomaly. Li Eugene turned and shouted at him, "Junior!" Then she vanished. Baek Yu-hyan was transported deep into a forest. It seemed he had been separated from Li Eugene. He wasn't flustered, though. Passages collapsing due to external shocks happened all the time. He immediately gripped his dagger. After all, several spiders were blocking his path. First, he had to deal with these things. Then he would go find Li Eugene. This was the first time Li Eugene displayed her power. Golden electricity crackled in her hand. Then she chopped downward with her palm, spreading thunderclap. The spiders in front of her were instantly doomed. Their bodies were sliced apart by lightning. They nearly became roasted spiders. But Li Eugene wasn't doing so well either. That attack had consumed a lot of her energy. The main problem was that there were simply too many spiders. No matter how many she killed, they kept coming. And the scale of this forest looked far closer to a medium-scale reverse planet than a small-scale one. So something really was off here. She let out a breath, only hoping Baek Yu-hyan was safe. What she didn't notice was that Choi Hyong-cheol, that sneaky bastard, had already appeared behind her. Li Eugene was shocked, but Choi Hyong-cheol's sneak attack still landed. He slashed straight across her abdomen. Li Eugene let out a muffled groan. She immediately countered with an arc blade of lightning, but Choi Hyong-cheol dodged it. Li Eugene couldn't understand why he was attacking her. Choi Hyong-cheol, why? Choi Hyong-cheol burst out laughing. Who knows? Let's just say I'm carrying out a secret mission. I'm only following orders, so don't hate me too much. Then his accomplices appeared as well. Li Eugene knew this was no time for talking. The wound was too deep. She had to get out first. Otherwise, she really might die here. She immediately threw a guardian stone in one direction. Just as it neared the target, it suddenly transformed into a giant boulder. With a thunderous boom, the guardian stone exploded apart. One of Choi Hyong-cheol's unlucky accomplices spat out a mouthful of blood. Then he slammed hard into the ground. Li Eugene used the opening to escape past him, but Choi Hyong-cheol had come here specifically to kill her. There was no way he would let her go. He cursed loudly. That idiot! You couldn't even hold one person back? After her! Li Eugene shot forward like an untamed horse, instantly putting a huge distance between them. Pressing her hands together, she used her power again. A gleaming golden lightning spear appeared. She flipped and hurled it at Choi Hyang-cheol and the other two. Boom! The three were forced to stop and defend themselves. Choi Hyang-cheol flew into a rage and cursed his companion out viciously. "You useless moron! Why didn't you stop her? What the hell were you doing?" Li Eugene took the chance to run, while quickly searching for somewhere to hide. Soon, a hole in the ground caught her eye. Before long, Choi Hyang-cheol's group lost sight of her. "Damn it, we lost her because of you. Let's search farther ahead first." What they didn't know was that Li Eugene was hiding right behind them. As soon as they left, she crawled back out. If there hadn't been a centipede nest here, that could have turned into a disaster. Then she frowned. A secret mission? What exactly are those corporations plotting? Meanwhile, Baek Yu-hyan had already wiped out every monster he had seen. Every single one was a one-hit kill. He had already taken down dozens of them. Then he arrived at the place where something had happened to Li Eugene. He had clearly sensed her presence here, but there were only chaotic footprints on the ground. It looked like something had gone wrong. But the next second, he heard Li Eugene's voice. Baek Yu-hyan immediately burst into a full sprint through the forest. When he arrived, he saw Li Eugene being bound by a gigantic creature. The viewers also broke out in a cold sweat for her. They hadn't expected her to be overpowered by an insect. The next second, Baek Yu-hyan moved. At that moment, he had entered perfect existence mode again.